lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. And most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that every day. And what do I mean by that? I mean, I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice-a-week long-form podcast, because I want to talk to the individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take all that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. It's one of the many, many reasons why I proudly fly that American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. We kind of have a nonchalant show today. I got one of my really, really good friends to come on, and we're just gonna, talk some ish here and just end the week on a high note here. Bill McIntyre over on YouTube. What is up? Good morning, Corey Buchan. Happy Hump Day. He's watching over on YouTube as well. Sorry, we're a little late to the show starting here this morning, you guys, because my customer hit me up for a last minute shipment for the holiday. And I'm just going to throw this out there at all. If you have any 53-foot flatbeds or step decks, because they normally ship step decks as well in the Arizona area, and you like to run the Southwest, hit up your boy. We have a lot of consistent freight out here. We're always looking to build up those solid carrier partnerships, you guys. So if you're in Arizona, 53-foot flatbed or step deck, and you like to run the Southwest, hit me up. Love to talk to you guys about that. All right, without further ado, I always feel like I got to lift more weights every time this gentleman comes on my show, and his beard game's on point too. So Robert Bane coming back in hot. What's up, brother?
What the fuck is up, Denny's?
Oh, dude. Dude, that caught me complete off guard. I love that line.
Gotta do it, man. Gotta do it to him. How are you, my friend? How are you?
Dude, I'm good, man. This time of year is always my favorite. Not because necessarily because of the holidays, but because of like the opportunities that truly come out there. And, selfishly, I'm a very competitive person at the end of the day. And I know that there's a ton of people who just float throughout this time of year. They don't make their calls. They don't make their outreaches. And they think that magically come January 1st, I'm just going to get back after it. Next year is my year. And what they don't realize is there is literally 6 more weeks left this year. Like, how much shit can you accomplish? And it's not even like go out there and close every single deal, because frankly, a lot of decision makers are, they're floating too. They're checked out. Yeah. But it's the habits, you guys. It's the discipline that you need to forge, because you can't just magically turn this stuff on and turn this stuff off. I mean, at least I can't. And I know you, like, not only, outside of business wise, but you power lift. I love when you send me your videos of your eyeballs popping out of their sockets, squatting a fucking car.
They do be doing that.
You can't take time off and then just go re-squat 1,100 pounds if you don't do anything for 2 months.
I wouldn't advise it. It's
correct.
You're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have a bad time.
You're gonna have a bad time.
No, man. It's funny you said that. I was talking with my son about this. He's just starting to get into lifting, like really kind of focusing on it, and I love that. I think it's dope. It's obviously, I'm huge on fitness and barbell and strength culture and everything. And it's the little things. You're right. You're not going to close a lot of like new long-term customers right now. You might, like, there's never a 0% chance, but it is going to be smaller during this time of year. But what you're going to do is you're going to start filling the pipeline. And that's what's most important during this time of year. Is what so few people think about is, what am I doing to set up for 24? Yeah, 24 can be your year. I'm not saying it can. It's do COVID year, right? And I'm saying, like, and if you're going to have that mentality, you have to start thinking much more like he did, as far as how he planned out all of his training, all of his workouts, everything like that. And so right now is when you're filling the pipeline for Q1.
Yeah.
And you may get some results, you may get a couple of opportunities, and that's great because again, like this is the time of year where people fall off and they float. But all the effort that you put in right now, you will see come to fruition in Q1, Q2, and Q3 of next year. But if you don't, but again, it's whatever effort you put in. If the effort you're putting in right now is calling it in, then enjoy the fruits of your labor come January and March and June.
Well, and that's like like everybody's so short-sighted, you could call it, right? Like they
Hmm.
want those instant results. They think that they're gonna cold call Kraft Foods today and lock them in, right? And I just like because I see the counter side of this, right? And again, I know that my uh what I say and my mentality might not be for everybody, right? But at the end of the day, I
I
don't
have no
have
problem people being wrong.
no, I don't have a golden parachute. All right. I support my family. I got to put food on my family's plate. I got to keep a roof over their head. I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And I have a long ways to go. And
Hmm.
I think so again, working all dude, I got all my sales outreaches done this morning. I'm going to get everything queued up for Friday. I'm going to get everything out on Friday as well. Do I think it's going to lead to a customer? Probably, maybe not. But again, it's the habits, right? Dude, it's just like, because you and I connected back in 2020, right? And
Hmm.
you saw the initial transformation of how fat I was back then to where I am now. And I was done putting stuff off till Monday, right?
Yep.
And that's kind of like my mentality with a lot of this stuff is I've coasted for a very long time.
Yeah.
But for me to achieve the goals that I have, which you guys can all laugh at them, I don't care, but I'm going to build a $50 billion company. I'm going to build the largest freight company in North American history. I'm also going to buy the San Diego Padres, which I decided a couple months back, and I'm speaking all of this stuff into existence. But I have to work really, really, really hard to get there.
Hmm.
And, I look at it like this too. Fortunately, I have an absolute gangster of a wife who she gets it, right? But she also sees the results. She sees the efforts. She knows that I'm not just going places and fucking off, right?
Right.
Like she sees the return on that stuff. So she gets it, right? And she understands that, like, you know what? And it sucks too, you guys. Like, I'm not sitting here advocating you got to work through every holiday. You got to miss that family time. I'm going to be fully present tomorrow with my family, fully
Hmm.
present. As soon as I leave here today, I'm going to be fully present with them. But I don't have the luxury to just fuck off for the next 6 weeks.
Right. Absolutely. And again, it's not because taking time and resting and because there's seasons to everything, right?
Yeah.
I always take things back to strength sports because what people I don't think ever get, 'cause you asked me this question one of the first times we really talked about life was like, well, do you work out every day? I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
And because again, it's different. Like I know in your case, one of my favorite things to see is every morning to see discipline over everything, and seeing you go in and you're getting your workouts in because your goal is different than mine.
Yep.
My goal is maximizing strength and maximize what my body can do and handle, but also realizing that there's 150,000 miles in my body between soccer and powerlifting and everything else that I've done. So I've got to taper that off and I've got to kind of go through cycles, go through seasons. Your business is no different than that, where to your point, you've got to put in all that effort on the sales side. When those fruits come, you've also got to put in all the effort on the operations side. There is going to be balance to it. It's not going to all be 100% at all times, right?
Mhm.
And so it's solidifying the operation. You're still continuing to do the basics of sales outreach because you can't ever let the pipeline shut off. But again, there's going to be seasons where you're doing more of those things. So like right now, I have a meet in 10 days. So all the heavy lifting's done. I ain't getting any stronger in 10 days.
Yeah.
But I can be more rested. I can be more recovered. And that's the goal is be as rested and recovered as I can be, minimize cortisol intake or accumulation because that comes from stress, and because that's going to ultimately lead to weight gain, which I don't necessarily want right now, and then limited muscle activation and response. So you do all that, and then you come into the meet here a week from Saturday, and you do your best to maximize everything. As soon as that meet is done, because that's the operational piece, right? I've executed on everything. We get what we get that day. Certainly, we have goals, just like you always have projections for your business, right? Like we're going to do 1 million this quarter in gross profit, and we're going to have an EBITDA of 750,000, just as an example, right? You then measure what are the results after the quarter's done. Awesome. We came in and, so I'm opening at 992, 600, and 645. So, it's like a 2240 or 2250 something opener total. Well, my best total ever is 2300. So I hope that I get a new PR total, right?
Yeah.
But then we measure all that. So we use some examples. I come out of there with a 2,400 pound total. Here's what we did. We basically added 100 pounds to my total in 13 months. Great. Now we go back to what were the areas that we were weak in? Was it my bench lockout? Was it the squat? Was it deadlifts off the floor? And then we go to work on all those different things. Take this back to your business. You go and you measure your quarter and you say, hey, we hit 800,000 in gross profit and we ended up with 600K in EBITDA. So we can assume that we didn't hit everything on the revenue side. And we need to make sure that we're buying well, and we need to make sure our expenses are minimized. So what is that? Is that a market thing? Is that we just have to examine how we're spending our money? Were there investments that we made later in the quarter that we didn't think of? Again, it's all the same thing. It's measure, adapt, measure, adapt, measure, adapt.
Yeah.
But you're still doing the daily things all the time. What am I doing every single day? I mean, again, there is training that goes on. I've got my grippers that I'm using every single day when I'm on calls like this, and I'm opening, working my extensors, because so few people do that because you're used to curling. It works the one side of the forearm. I'm working the other to build stability on both sides, and it minimizes injury. All those little things, those tiny habits. I wake up and I've got a PVC pipe, and I'm doing shoulder range of motion, making sure that my shoulders stay healthy because I produce so much trauma with straight bar, whether I'm squatting, whether I'm benching, what have you. So it's all those things. The same thing on your business side. You're making this outreach. You're building your carrier network. You did it right when the show started. Hey, flatbed carriers, step deck carriers, holler at us. We got regular business. Let's become part of the network, right? Are you doing those calls every single day? Hey, you've got the freight covered for the day. Are you spending 20 minutes to an hour just sourcing new carriers? What do you do? Where do you go? I've had quite a few people talk to me about this since the Broker Carrier Summit in Tampa. How do I get my business up and running? They're brand new in the industry. They've never been in. They really have no training, but they're an agent somewhere. Well, you just met 50 carriers, 100 carriers while you were here. Follow up with them, find out the lanes that they're running, and then go start sourcing customers for that. You have a very targeted source all of a sudden. And now you start building out, and these people, they're decent human beings, and you can start working with them. It's no different than when you have the business. You already have business going on, but you want to make sure you've got a very deep bench in case something happens, because it's logistics. It's never a question of if, it's when. So I said this on LinkedIn last week, build the network before you need it.
Dude, it's so true, right? Because it's while we're out there, because again, we're working a same day load today, has to pick today, last minute order, deliver on Monday, the whole nine. We reached out to our entire carrier network because this is a brand new customer, all things considered, right? We've only moved, I think, less than 10 shipments for them. So,
still new.
We're new. We're still working it. We're still building up our carrier base, right? And, that's what it is we have that list of people that we reach out to first. And then we kind of go out there. We try to minimize our usage in the open market. But again, I want to find the individuals who are in this area all the time. And those are the people that I want to work with because, frankly, every broker needs that oh shit carrier. And what I mean 100%. By that is, hey, customer just hit me up last minute. This is what do you need? They will give you a price, and that if they say they will be there in 2 hours, they're there in 2 hours. It is extremely expensive, but it's worth it in those moments. And you need that stuff for stuff around the holiday, right? But again, it's the time and the effort and the habits that you put in on the days that you don't have that stuff is when it pays off the most, right? And I hate seeing all this stuff out there about, just it's soft to me. It's soft. It's laziness. Unless your life is exactly where you want it to be, exactly where you want it to be. Do you? I'm not ever advocating for anybody to not do what they want to do with their lives. But if you're not where you want to be, you got a lot of work to do because there are some straight up hustlers that are hammering stuff out right now. They smell blood in the water. They're out there. They're not going to stop.
And I want to add to that. There are straight hustlers and killers out there that are crushing it. That are Andrew Silver said this. Somebody mentioned about having a unique product in the marketplace, and he said that's fine and all, but you look at Molo's origin. they came into a saturated market with a pretty simple execution brokerage idea. There wasn't a lot that differentiated them initially. And the one thing they did is they hustled. They did more work than anybody during that time frame, and they grew. And again, I won't try to tell their story that Andrew and
Yeah.
Will and everybody, they've done a great job of doing that. And look what happens. They end up getting sold to ArcBest, and everybody kind of won in that situation. But again, they came into a market where everyone's swimming upstream. To your point, there's blood in the water. Everybody's looking to hunt, and they killed more. Period.
Yeah.
There's also scumbags out there that are willing to hustle just as hard. And so I'm going to say it, man. There are.
Facts.
There, and we see you look at everything going on, and you talk to anybody who's utilizing companies like Highway, Carrier Sure, Freight Validate, who just kind of launched their product. Broker Carrier. You look at it, there are scumbags out there. So sure, you don't necessarily want to lose out to your competitors, but do you really want to lose out to those shitbags out there that are going to go steal the freight, that are going to go continue to sully the role of the intermediary in the industry? No, go out and hustle them if nothing else.
Yeah. I just think that there's so many opportunities that are out there, right? There's so much stuff that's out there. And this is like when he's talking about these shitbags, you guys, he's not talking about the companies he listed there. He's talking about these bad actors that are going out there and making it very, very challenging to make it because of all the stuff that goes on with all the fraud, everything else. But again, like, here's another thing too. If your company's been hit by some of this stuff, when's the last time you trained your individuals on how to vet these carriers, right? Because I think a lot of it, and again, this doesn't end anything, just like there is no single piece of technology that can help you out train bad habits. All right. You need to work with your people to identify this stuff, right? Because they're always looking for the easiest targets, plain and simple. All right. They are looking for the people who clearly do not care about their job. They're just fucking staring at their computer screen. They don't care if the load picks up or not. Those are the targets, you guys. And then what? And you have it happen, and then you throw your hands up in the air and you're just back to your old habits right away. Right? Because you think like, oh, this won't happen again. And then it happens again. And then you're just like so short-sighted about this, you guys. You have to internally look. How can you improve as an organization?
And it's interesting you mentioned the technology piece. I was asked this last week on a different show. What is the technology that's going to push everything forward? And I immediately raised my hand and said, none. Now,
broker carrier.
Zero, there is no technology that is going to push your business forward. And here's what I mean by that. I mean, again, because I am very pro technology.
Yeah.
We've got green screens up in the corner here. Shout out to them. Love those guys, and the squad there. What Don's put together is incredible. The technology that will change the game is the one that gets adopted by your team. That technology adoption is what pushes your business forward. It's not a TMS, not a CRM. It's not a quoting tool. It's not a spreadsheet. It is what is adopted by your team. So back to your point of what are you training people on? So sure, you train them on a technology, but you also train them on the underlying reason why. I spend a lot of time thinking about stuff because I just don't like to fill my head with the dumb shit that goes on around the world. And I was watching Jurassic Park with my kids, the original one, right?
Love it. Good movie.
Great film. And if you remember the lunch scene when they first get to the island and they're talking, and Ian Malcolm he's just piss and vinegar. He's so upset about this place. And he's explaining that they stood on the shoulders of giants. They never learned the things for themselves. Here's what he meant by that is a company like we'll say Carrier Sure or like a Highway. What are they doing? They're vetting out carriers and making sure that they're legit. Well, if you don't teach somebody how they're doing that, like what the reason for that is and what those steps are they're taking, then you want the technology to do all that effort for you. That's great. You love that. But also it allows the individual, if they know what the technology is doing for them, that when things go wrong, they can troubleshoot it, and they can also give input to make the technology better. Because seat level users are the ones that always see the flaws versus the salespeople and the management, because management does not get into it as much. And the sellers, they know what to sell. They're not trying to do anything bad or fleece anybody, but they're expecting seat level users to say, hey, this is a problem and this is why we need to fix it. And here's how we fix it.
No, I'm right there with you, man. And, and again, like with from my perspective, like growing up in the industry, right? Like I
Hmm.
started off as a carrier rep, then I
Hmm.
became an account manager and was a sales rep. I worked for one of the largest brokers. Then I went and worked for a pure startup. Same thing. It was a cradle to grave. And then now, where as an agent for SPI, and again, the execution piece is crucial, right? Like one of the
Hmm.
first things we did dude, we built out, like, we have probably like 60 to 70 hours worth of training documented and ready to go. And,
Awesome.
and then that was why one of the main reasons why Kyle and I partnered with Broker Carrier was everything that platform is designed is based off of my seat level experience and what we did in those moments to work through a lot of these issues, right?
Hmm.
So it helps identify a lot of this stuff too, right? Because you can't, like, no piece of technology is going to train your people, right? You need that front level experience. And that's the thing. Like and then also, like, this is why I've said it before and I'll say it again. The most exciting tech companies that I see out there in freight are built by former freight brokers. Those are the ones that I love, right?
Yep.
I'm impartial. All right. I'm impartial to Broker Carrier. Of course I am. But it's like Chris Jolly in a fucking platform, because my business partner, Kyle, worked for the NN. He's a fucking genius. And he built out all of that. But there are a ton of great software platforms out there. I mean, you brought up green screens, for example.
Hmm.
I use green screens to win every single shipment that I'm moving right now, because it gives us the most accurate real-time data for any of the lanes that we're moving, right?
Hmm.
But on top of that, though, how we talk to our carriers, how we vet who we're working with to get a long-term partner, right? I don't need just a carrier and a price today. I need that same carrier and that same price every single day. And you got to think long-term, right? And why a lot of it, for me, you guys, having a tool like green screens in your back pocket, because if you guys are like me and you don't just get awarded 10,000 shipments for every company you cold call, and you got to earn that business, it's going to give you the most accurate spot market data, because that's essentially where you start as a new provider. You are low risk, high reward. If you come
Hmm.
through for them on this freight, you're an absolute rock star for that shipment. But guess what? The next one, you're back down to earning your keeps, right? That is going to help you in that. But again, are you vetting the carriers that you're working with? Are you talking to them? Most
Hmm.
importantly, that one of the very first questions we ask, and this is going to sound simple: do you run this lane often? Why do you like this lane? Why are you calling us on this lane?
Yep.
That's the type of freight. Those are the type of carriers that we want, because I want those guys who run Arizona to Southern California or Las Vegas to Southern California 24/7, 365. Because I got a lot of shippers out there that are going to want to run that lane. And I want the same
Correct.
handful of carriers, because here's the thing. A lot of people talk about customer sales, customer sales, customer sales. I get it. All right. I get it. But if you don't have trucks to haul that freight, again, I will give a 1-year free advertising to any brokerage out there that brings a viable business plan on how they can pick up and deliver freight without trucks, how they get it done and build a book of it. I'm fucking here for it. It doesn't happen, but you guys
No,
always overlook that shit.
100%. And I've said this for a while now, is that you ultimately, if you work in this space, you have three customer bases, and that is your shipping customers, that is your carriers, and that is your employees. All three of those are equally important, and they all hold different weight. They do different things. To your point, your shippers are trusting you to move their freight. Your carriers, like, if you're an intermediary, because I assume the freight coach and your brokerage, you don't own a single power unit or trailer,
No.
nor do you lease them, nor do you, no, you are a capacity reseller. That's it.
Yep.
And even if you're a asset light, you're a capacity reseller. That is all you are. And that's not bad. Just know your role.
Yeah.
And
I just
so
sorry,
it's
I think of Joe Dirt right there, when it's just like, "Dear Tay, don't try and spice it up, Dirt."
don't try to church it up, man.
Yeah, exactly. Don't try and church it up, Dirt.
And here's the things, like, people can say all they want about brokers, and carriers need brokers, shippers need brokers, brokers need carriers, brokers need shippers need carriers. We've talked about this for years ad nauseum. It's an ecosystem. All three need each other.
Yeah.
But the only difference is, while brokers and carriers continue to fight it out and try to say, I'm better, you're better. I think you actually said this to me once. Hey, you put my guy in the hospital, I'll put your guy in the morgue. You can't keep doing that, because the only person that wins is a shipper, because they get a lower price that continues to hurt ultimately the professional driver?
I look at it like this. I have found in my career, again, I've only moved 3 truckloads, you guys, so take this for what it's worth. Um, if you have the same trucking company showing up time and time again, based on the lanes that they want to run, not the lanes you want them to run, ironically, your fall off percentage plummets.
Wild.
If something happens, they let you know. And then you go far, a la this is just a standard operating procedure at Freight Coach Logistics. You call all facilities, you verify all information, you verify everything that's needed. So when the driver arrives, they're aware of what
Mhm.
they need to do, all the way down to check in at this dock door or go into this gate at this facility, and you become efficient. But a
Mhm.
lot of people don't do that because they're like, oh, how do I make an extra $100? Like, dude, I get DM after DM after DM from drivers out there and the just disgusting behavior that's out there. And rest assured, you guys, I'm just stating this because this is going to become very apparent. It is only a matter of time before somebody like myself or somebody inside of my organization cold calls your customer. And if you're acting like that, it's only a matter of time before I'm eating your fucking lunch. All right? Because this is the real world, you guys.
Mhm.
This is not snowflake land or rainbow land, as Cam Brady says in the campaign. This is not rainbow land, you guys. This is the real world. And if you're fucking off and you're pushing carriers into the ground by putting in stupidity inside of your contracts and you think that that stuff's going to hold up, it's only a matter of time, you guys. All right.
Correct.
You might think
Correct.
you're slick right now. You might think you're slick right now, and you might be able to get away from it right now. But just wait till this market flips.
Yeah,
Just wait
because
till it's a carrier market.
shit ain't
Just
sweet
wait.
then.
Just wait until you're posting $10 a mile and nobody's calling you because of what you're doing right now.
Correct. Correct. But here's the thing. There's a way around all this. There's a way through all this. And it begins with carriers and brokers understanding the need for each other and just being professionals. You know
Yeah.
how you know how easy it is to just not be an asshole.
Very easy.
It's so like, don't get me wrong, it's really easy to be one. I'm really good at it. But
Yeah.
it's so easy to
Don't
just not be one.
Yeah. I just think, treating people like, because to me, man, like we had a driver recently because we were just like, hey, man, we really appreciate your hard work. Thank you for everything. And he was like, I kid you not. He's like, man, he's like, I haven't been told that in over a year by a broker. Just a heads up. Thank you for even saying that. Sounds simple, right?
Yep.
But a lot of people don't look at that, man. And again, you guys, I just think like there's so much opportunity to do the opposite of like you can read all these posts, right? By
Mhm.
all these trucking companies. And if you do the opposite of that, you're going to be wildly successful.
100%.
Wildly successful. If you do the opposite of what they post about of all the shitty behaviors that brokers do. But that's going to be it, man. That's already a quick 30 minutes. And I always go
Do that.
fast with you, my man. And I'm gonna have Robert back on a couple more times, probably by the end of this year, because I just like shooting the shit with you, man. And
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, man, you gotta have me on after the meet so we can talk about the results.
dude, we should definitely do that. But yeah, man, that's gonna be it for today. I'm debating if I go live on Friday or not yet. Friday's Q&A day. We'll see. I'll make a decision after I'm about one turkey leg deep tomorrow.
Perfect.
And then we'll put that up there. But you guys, as always, if you guys got value in what you heard today, subscribe to the show. Share it out there to your network. That's how we help more people, you guys. That's how we're number one at the end of the day. And that's most importantly how we reach more and more people and help them out with everything, is because if you see value, your network will see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And we'll be talking to you soon. I know.